Hey YouTube, I just want to talk a little stackonomics with you. So, I want to explain a couple misconceptions that I've been hearing often about gold and silver, and I want to explain to you why they're misconceptions. The first misconception has to do with the historical gold to silver ratio, and it's actually a misconception that is very prevalent among the stacking community. A lot of stackers get this one wrong. And the second misconception has to do with the supply of gold and silver when it is being used as money. So it is very common to hear people say that we cannot use gold and silver as money because there isn't enough of it. There's just not enough of this stuff, which is extremely not true. So I want to explain to you these two misconceptions. So let's dive into the first one. So a lot of people think that we cannot base or guess what today's gold to silver ratio would be if we had a freer monetary system off of the old ones. So 15 to 1, 16 to 1, back in the day, we cannot use those as information for anything because they were fixed, they were manipulated by government, and they just weren't accurate. So we cannot use those for a basis of comparison for today. And that's kind of like a half-truth. And let me tell you why. So yes, the gold to silver ratios were fixed back in the day. In 1792, the founding fathers enacted the Coinage Act of 1792, and that set the gold to silver ratio to 15 to 1. All right, and then in the 1830s, they switched it to 16 to 1. So let me ask you a question. Why did the founding fathers set the gold to silver ratio to 15 to 1 in 1792? Where did they get that number from? Well, they chose 15 to 1 because that was based on the actual global market ratio, gold to silver ratio at the time. Right? That is why they set it to 15 to 1, because it was based on the global market ratio. And why did they switch it to 16 to 1 in the 1830s? Well, they switched it to 1 because natural market forces pushed the actual market ratio to 16 to 1. So Congress had to switch the ratio to 16 to 1 to prevent or not prevent because it was happening at the time, but to fix the shortage in gold, all right? Because gold was undervalued. So Gresham's law, drives out good money. So that's what happened. And that actually leads into the second misconception. But I just want to reiterate that stackers that say we cannot base anything off of those old ratios because they were fixed are wrong, because they were fixed to the actual market ratio. Congress didn't just pull that number out of their ass and decide that, let's make it 15 to 1. That's not what they did. All right, I'm not saying that we can use those ratios as a means to guess what the ratio would be today if we had a free monetary system, because what decides the ratios? Supply and demand, right? And what has changed since the late 1700s? All right, supply and demand of gold and silver. It's not the same. There's more people that are alive. They are being used for different reasons. So we cannot base anything off of those old ratios still. But I just wanted to, clear that up, that they actually were based off of the real market ratios. So the second misconception is that there is not enough gold and silver to be used as money. Hold on one second. Let me just reverse these for you. I'll show you the back. I love this little $5 Indian. There you go. Sorry about that. So the second misconception is that there's not enough gold and silver to be used as money. All right, that's what I hear all the time from people. There's not enough gold in the world. All right, there might not be enough gold in the world for coercive governments to do whatever they want with, but there is enough gold in the world for a free market to thrive. So let me explain. What happened when, in the 1830s, when Andrew Jackson abolished, what was that, the Second Bank of the United States? I believe that was the second. So what happened after Andrew Jackson abolished or helped abolish that bank? Well, the money supply contracted, all right, because they started using sound money again, right? And what also happened? Prices declined. All right, so if there's not a lot of gold and silver in the world, it is a scarce resource. That's why it is good, because governments can't just print it willy-nilly. But if we started using gold and silver as money again, there would be enough, all right? Because the people who didn't have a lot of gold or a lot of silver, they would still be able to buy things because prices would be low. All right? After Andrew Jackson abolished the Second Bank of the United States, prices drastically decreased, all right, along with the money supply. Just like when you increase the money supply, right, that causes price inflation. Well, that is the same thing when you contract the money supply. It's the opposite. Prices decline. And this whole myth stems from the shortages of gold and silver in history, in American history. And that did not happen because there's not enough gold and silver. That happened because the ratios were fixed. All right, they were fixed in America, they were fixed in other countries. And when the global market pushes the ratio in a different direction, this causes Gresham's law to create a shortage in whatever metal is undervalued. All right, so in the early 1800s, gold was undervalued because the ratio was fixed, and that's why there was barely any gold in circulation in the early 1800s. So this whole myth it stems from government intervention, not the free market, and not the supply of gold and silver. So I just wanted to clear those two things up, YouTube. I gotta cut this off because my phone's telling me I don't have a lot of storage left. So I appreciate everyone who has watched this video. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll talk to you later.